Hello, welcome back. The previous episode of Survive ended with the introduction of a few more other characters into the scene. At Humboldt University, we get to meet Professor Wilhelm, in German, Wilhelm Gutenberg, a man described as uniting a German prickly nose, whatever that means, with a shining forehead that suspended a grey tuft of improperly growing hair. Then we have Mr. Stephen Blame, a vengeful, cold and calculative man and one of the brainchilds of the Shrine Tango movement. Captain James Blunt, who John of course remembers from training in Kudus, Afghanistan, and who is now the STM's Raven. Then there is Officer 001X, who is described as a master of playback and a brilliant mind on Reddit analysis and the FBI Carnivore program. This man is basically a former Camp Swampy trainee, they claimed. Then we meet Mr. Chris COONS, Jerry Sparta, and a man called Jason Ygritte Spikes, who apparently drowned Mr. Cooper in the Charles River in Boston. You all recall that Cooper was the disguised taxi driver from Ridgeway Taxis. The fact is, the so-termed Mission G-Prof begins with the Shrine Tango movement and the protagonist, who is John Taylor, meeting Professor Wilhelm Gutenberg at Humboldt University in Berlin. Now, whatever this mission is all about, the events that unfold shall reveal, so stick around a little longer. Now, today, we are at one of the most prestigious universities in Germany called Humboldt University in Berlin. And we cannot talk about this institution without mentioning the Adlerhof campus that hosts the Erwin Schrödinger Center. You all recall me talking about the Erwin Schrödinger card in one of the previous episodes. Well, in August 1999, the computer scientists pioneered the relocation of parts of this university, that is Humboldt University, to Handlerhof, and the relocation of the natural sciences to state-of-the-art buildings was indeed completed by Atom 2003. Well, of course, there is the North Campus and the Central Campus. But ladies and gentlemen, today I'm not going to talk about so many other things. I'm going to delve direct into the File Soldier series, Book 1, which is Survive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna start from where I left. My name is Victor, the author of the File Soldier series. This is episode number 21. Step aside, John, requested Jake. I'll play the intro game. You can pick from there. Step aside, requested Jake. I'll play the intro game. You can pick from there. Very well, sir. I agree. The face I saw was not that of a total stranger. It was one that I had met scores of times in the past. He hadn't changed much though. His face was wider. He had punctured cheeks, dented forehead, and a neck of an elephant. Professor Wilhelm Gutenberg, I beg your pardon, I believe I said. As he slouched about the door on the ground and hands in the pockets, my lips moved twice, but the tongue failed to roll up words. "You skunks! Again!" Accompanying that remark was a warlike gesture and diatribe that didn't align with the charm he had been afforded by his visitors. "Sir, don't be afraid. We've got you back," said Jake. "In this time and age, you never know who your real friends are." Mr. Bench loaded his pistol. His style was unmatched, pleasing to the eye, compelling to watch, recluse like a distant star. It stiffened and nothing supplied that blank. "Humans playing God," retorted Professor Gutenberg. "This is madness. You jackasses never cease to amaze." He stepped out and walked to the left side along the veranda. His eyes locked with the floor, and like three little mites, we followed. 1, 2, 3 steps. It was therapeutic, as though it had been choreographed, hypnotic. He stopped and turned. Again he outstared. Hands plunged back into his pockets. I stopped and stepped aside. "Professor!" He looked up, then surveyed me with the air of wanting to snare me up. "John!" "Professor!" "It is really you, Mr. Taylor," he said. In the lapse of this crispy dialogue, it shouldn't have cost me better brains to conclude that Professor Wilhelm Gutenberg's mind was one distinctly molded by rule and line. "Treasure it up," I said. "It's me. Get no more lines on your face." "Can't trust anyone," said Mr. Wilhelm. "You always had secrets. Didn't like you much. It's important to me, you know that." The man was in no mood to be played. But that wasn't our intention. It was erroneous to have entertained such impression. "It's complicated," I said. "These are the rules I live on. But don't conjecture, Mr. Professor. My whole life is a big question." "It won't make it easy, Mr. Taylor. By the expression on your face, I know you didn't sign out for this. You always had big plans. I mean, getting to med school, raising a family, and being a good father." I almost shrank to the knowledge and derived from his last statement regarding my raising a family and being a good father. Brief as our companionship had been, Mr. Gutenberg had never hesitated to awaken suspicion in my breast strong enough to warrant immediate action to erase myself from existence. The regular guy has got appendicitis. Jake lied. It was a reply I could sense, injected to nourish elements of escapism in our conversations with Professor, so the news I had received regarding family ties to which he had claimed I was bounded, in all respects, remained a mystery. "I see," replied the Professor. "Sir," I said, "I'm told my interests should align with yours, and yours with mine. I hope we prove smart enough to live long and get rich." With a polite air, Professor Gutenberg nodded. "As to you, Mr. Taylor," interjected Jake Daniels, "do we still have a deal?" I turned for an instant to look at Professor Gutenberg. "Deal or no deal, Mr. Taylor? Answer me." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I come to the end of my today's episode. Goodbye and stay tuned.